The third annual Florida Cracker Trail Ride, April 21st through the 28th. Sounds like a lot of fun, but what exactly is it? Well, to find out, you just got to be there. If you've never been on a cross-country trail ride, or if you're an experienced hand at this sort of thing, there is some preparation to do. Most riders might want to get their farrier to put shoes all the way around on their trusty steed just for safety's sake. The Department of Transportation does its best to keep our roadsides clean, but sometimes there are hidden hazards. This is a chance to check the hooves for potential problems that could get serious when you average around 20 miles a day. And you might want to increase your horse's feed prior to a ride like this for a little bit of extra energy on the trail, since there's a lot more walking than grazing on a week-long ride. Several 15-mile day rides around your neighborhood prior to the big ride are a wise idea too, just to get yourself and your mount in good condition for whatever is ahead.
All right, I'm doing him some good. Yeah, well, she did okay, and then I think when they started working her real hard, kind of started going downhill again.
With some good tips and good wishes from your farrier and vet, you're ready for that day when you wake up just outside Bradenton for your first misty spring morning on the Florida Cracker Trail Ride.
Okay, yeah, we'll meet you over at the gate.
It's bound to be an adventure. Talk about exciting to mix with a bunch of horses and people who are total strangers and ride all the way across Florida. Look at all these horses and mules and riders gathering up for the start. Every size, shape, and color of mount you can imagine. There will be questions going through your mind and your mounts naturally. The organizers start with the day's announcements, bringing everyone up to speed on procedures and plans. But the big questions are still there about your mount's behavior in this crowd and his health and fitness all the way across the state. Will you be able to make it the whole way without any mishaps or injuries? Will this be fun or a big mistake? Well, at this point, you've got to take the reins and go for the answers on the first day of a nature walk along the Cracker Trail.
Gonna walk backwards the whole ride? Probably today. Yeah, as long as I try to settle,
And on any nature walk, they say you should take nothing but pictures and leave nothing. But, well, this walk is on horseback. So this is how it looks when you've got some 120 riders on the road at one time. Here's the group crossing the road for the first water stop about mid-morning. That's one of the neat things about how this ride is planned. You don't need to carry your own water unless you really want to, because water stops are set up to make sure you and your horse or mule can cool off and quench your thirst. And the column is always followed up by the pickup wagon that can take you in your ride to medical care or for a rest or any problem that develops. A great safety net. Last in line is a sheriff's deputy for traffic control. Time to relax and drink up, with a number of troughs set out to make sure everyone gets a turn.
Try it again. So the new one.
Have you ever wondered, by the way, what it looks like underwater when your gallant, noble steed takes a drink? Well, probably not, but we did, so we dove in to see. And you know what? They sip. That's right, they just pucker up those great big lips and sip, kind of like your grandma having tea. How about that? Of course, the riders are thirsty as the horses, and there are plenty of coolers set up so you can have as much ice water, Gatorade, lemonade, or iced tea as you want. And believe me, you do want. You can't be shy in a crowd of 120, and that's part of the fun.
Thanks, it's free.
Excuse Lord. Get your nose out of there.
The other side of the coin needs to be taken care of too, and this year, portable potties followed along for your convenience. It's nice to sit on something that isn't moving.
I've never seen so many people working.
On previous rides, we didn't have these, so there are still bushes available for those who can't break the habit.
Just great.
After that, you might want to drink up again, because it'll be a long way to lunch. You know, there wasn't a single cup or anything else left behind any place we stopped.
Good, good. Just when you're close. You better get something adjusted back there.
Pretty soon it's back on the trail, refreshed, happy, and ready to go, with a sheriff's deputy taking the lead and wagons setting the pace. It's a comfortable, easy-going stroll through history, retracing the actual path of pioneers and settlers, cattle drives and freight wagons that connected Florida's east and west coasts. This is a happy bunch of riders.
It worked! We're going beach.
Before we leave the west side of the state, we should mention that it was the Peace River Electric Cooperative and this fine young man named Gary Crawford who was responsible for all the water needs of all our horses throughout the ride. It was critical to our success and was a job well done. Now here's the view from passing traffic, so you can see why it's important to have a mount that can handle loud vehicles going in both directions. Fortunately, traffic was controlled by the trail hands and sheriff's deputies from every county along the trail, so if your mount is even-tempered and well-controlled, you'll be fine. Finally, it's lunchtime, and everyone gets a long rest. During this time, shuttle buses will take you to move your trailer to the next campsite. Is this rough or what? No phones, no TV, no tension, just horse lovers and their critters, a beautiful shady stop somewhere in old Florida, and a chance to make some new friends. Come nightfall at the end of the first day, you can spend some time enjoying a campfire or hang out at the chuck wagon. You might hear some music from Richard McClelland and Judge Platt drifting on the breeze as you curl up in your tent or next to your horse and drift off to sleep, dreaming about tomorrow. And tomorrow comes early enough, usually 5:30 or 6. Coffee and breakfast have been prepared, and if you have a ground crew, they can clean up the campsite and go back to bed. The riders are already gathering up to hit the trail. Here's where you should notice those people in the orange vests. They are the trail hands under the direction of the trail boss, Mr. Roger Haney. You'll never see a group of men and women work so hard so that other people can have fun. They are exemplary riders, every one, who make sure that this whole crowd is organized, ready, safe and sound every single step of the way. They make it possible to relax and enjoy the ride in complete safety. The trail hands will help you with your horse, tell you stories, give you advice, and point out the sights along the way. They embody the true spirit of the Florida Cracker Trail.
All right. Head them up. Have fun.
The mules were moving out this morning, weren't they?
What a great place to be in late April in Florida. We had blue skies and sunshine. There was usually a cool breeze, and we didn't see one mosquito the whole trip. We were walking in the footsteps of the Florida crackers who made their living moving herds of cattle to the crack of a 12-foot bullwhip. They and their families knew and loved these wide spaces and shady hammocks. They saw the orange groves we passed when they were just seedlings in the sand. They saw alligator and deer, raccoons and possums. Along the trail, we saw Florida as it is and as it was. When the day is over, you find yourself arriving at another beautiful campsite like this one on the banks of the Peace River. Here, the whole community of Zolfo Springs made us feel welcome with a dinner and music and dancing. This is the atmosphere of campsites on the trail. Peaceful, tranquil, and soothing. Let's face it, this has to be good for you and your horse. And it was possible thanks to the generosity of towns, businesses, ranchers, and landowners who share that Cracker Trail spirit.
Everybody be ready at 7 o'clock. Supper be ready at 7 o'clock.
With another sunrise comes another day, and even though the route is planned and mapped, on this trip, anything can happen, including a holdup. These bandits tried to take our women, but typical of our Cracker Trail women, the bandits were invited to next year's ride. After a few days on the trail, we were starting to get the hang of it. Sure, your muscles are getting a little sore in a few other places too, but that's to be expected. More than anything, there's dust and dirt everywhere. But the ride is so well planned that just when you think you couldn't get any dirtier or more worn out, there's a pleasant surprise at the next campsite. And believe me, by that time, you're ready to take the plunge. All this fun is a sure way to work up an appetite, and as the shenanigans wind down, thoughts turn toward the belly. While Judge Platt and his daughter played the tunes, supper was underway. We were fortunate enough to be served our meals 3 times a day by some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, the crew from the Wild Turkey Tavern in Avon Park. And do they know what they're doing? Just take a look. Put it this way, it's the only catering service I've ever seen to get a standing ovation when all was said and done. Matter of fact, the only stampedes were caused by the food call. We had big breakfasts, excellent lunches, and all-you-can-eat barbecue dinners with traditional Florida dishes prepared on the road each day.
I don't guess very many of you people ever heard
Bishop Jameson I know heard it.
The whole family will be satisfied. Townspeople, sponsors, and civic leaders came out to join us. And all you had to do was line up. And with food this good, you better not dawdle. Eventually, our goal came within sight. The final day's ride had us feeling pretty tired and dirty, but it was mixed with joy and a feeling of accomplishment like no other. We were ready to celebrate with awards and speeches and rest up to strut our stuff the next day in the annual parade through downtown Fort Pierce.
Your last one. Just the face around him.
Where'd you go?
Association President Gary Campbell put it real well.
I've said before, the Cracker Trail is more than a ride. It's an experience that becomes a significant part of your life. In just 1 week's time, you and your horse ride across the state of Florida. In just 1 week's time, you learn to appreciate your animal, this state's history, the scenery of Central Florida, and the value of a hot shower.
All right,
In just 1 week's time, you become family with people that you barely knew before the week began.
Right, that's right.
You know you can count on them. You know you can count on them, and you'd do anything you could to help them. Being a Cracker Trail rider isn't a club membership or a loose group of acquaintances. It's a special bond between people that becomes true kinship. This year's ride was particularly special. I'm sure I speak for the trail boss and the trail hands when I say this has been the best group of riders we've ever had. Your cooperation, attention.
Yep, we made it. We answered all our questions about horsemanship, training, and safety. Whether you went part of the way or all the way, you were a Cracker Trail rider and proud of it. Once you've done something like this, you'll never be the same. All that time and work with your animal that finally paid off. And if you haven't had enough fun already, on the very last evening, you're invited to ride in the grand entry of the Fort Pierce Rodeo. What a week we had. It was a thrill all the way, and it was made possible by the Florida Cracker Trail Association and so many generous sponsors and supporters that it makes a list stretching from one side of the state to the other. There's real pride that comes when you can say, yes, I'm a Florida Cracker Trail rider. It's something that no one can ever take away. The Cracker Trail has come alive for us. The friends we made and the experiences we had are memories that are sure to last forever.